Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. Let's talk about inflation, or gold in parentheses, or let's talk about gold with inflation in parentheses. You've been happy if your gold has done well, if you bought gold 10 or 15 or 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. You've been happy with gold going where it is. I would put a small damper on how happy you are. If you bought gold in 2016 when it was just over $1,000 an ounce, and you sold recently when it's around $4,000, and you approximately 4 times your money, well, when you bought your gold, a McDouble at McDonald's was $1, and now it is $3.69, $3.49. So your purchasing power didn't get far. The price of eggs and milk, etc. The price of other stuff is going up as well, which we'll discuss shortly. But you didn't do as well as you think you did on paper. Paper being the key word here. You're tracing your wealth in paper. You say, I bought this for $1,000 and I sold it for $4,000, and I've done rather well. I've 4 times my paper. When in actuality, your paper is worth 1/4 as much as it used to be. You can buy 1/4 as much when you go out to dinner at Applebee's or whatever. You know, you used to get an order of boneless wings to add to your meal for $6.99 or whatever. Now it's $15.99 or $18.99. So you've done well on paper, and that's the key. You're measuring your wealth in paper. The gold is the actual measure of wealth. And gold is not an investment. You've probably heard me harp on this before, but you cannot invest in gold and make money. Now, you can trade gold in the short term and make money. I don't deny that, but I'm talking about buying and holding long term as an investment. You cannot do that, because the value of gold doesn't go up or down. The value of gold is steady, and it has been for a shockingly long time. I went to the internet and did much research, and then I went to AI and had a conversation with AI, and you can buy an apartment in ancient Rome for about 100 to 300 ounces of gold, which is what people aspired to. If you weren't dirt poor or a slave, then you tried to get an apartment in the city, and that was about 100 to 300 ounces of gold. Skip forward to Amsterdam, you could get a house on the outskirts of town. Now, the Amsterdam we're thinking of is on the canals with those nice pointy brick buildings there. Those were about $1.5 million, but they're in the commercial district and it's posh. But several blocks away on the side streets, you could get a house in Amsterdam for 100 ounces of gold. You could get one of the ones on the canal for 500 to 600 ounces, about $1.5 million. Now, let's say you've got 100 ounces of gold today. That sells for around $400,000 or so, and that'll buy you a plot of land and build you a home in almost any city in America, not downtown New York or downtown LA or the center of Miami, but you could get a plot of land, a respectable plot of land maybe even, especially if you went to Wyoming. That would get you a small ranch. So you could get a home for 100 ounces of gold in ancient Rome, in the 1600s in Amsterdam, and today, 100 ounces of gold buys you a home. So if your great-great-grandpa said, I'm going to put this 100 ounces of gold in the ground, and my great-great-great-great-grandson's going to dig it up, and he'll be so rich because gold will go up in value by then. No, he's wrong. He could have bought a house with it, and you can buy a house with it. Now you say, oh, my house is so much better. I have electricity in my house. Okay, fair enough. But you're just measuring like things against like things. They got the best things of the day in their house, and we get the best things of our day in our house. And it's 100 ounces of gold. So, you've done well on paper. Now, the dollar versus the gold can be looked at. You can just look at a chart. Look at the price of gold. Go pull up the price of gold on a chart right now and gaze upon it and realize that the price of gold going up, you can turn that chart upside down and you will see the price of the dollar going down, the value of the dollar decreasing. Here's this guy standing here with 1 ounce of gold, and over the years you can go to him and he says, I'll give you this ounce of gold for 1,000 of your paper thingies. And now, today you go to him, he says, I'll give you this ounce of gold for 4,000 of your paper thingies. Because I used to value your paper thingies enough that I would take 1,000 of them. In fact, back in the late 90s, I would take 350 paper thingies for this ounce of gold. But nowadays, it's 4,000 of those paper thingies to get 1 ounce of gold. And that is the value of that paper thingy, the dollar, dropping and dropping and dropping. And if you realize that a gold dollar used to be $35, and before that it was $1, a gold dollar was $1. No, that was a silver dollar, pardon me. But gold was valued at $35, and it was set by the government. But, they had to set it with the market in mind at the beginning. Eventually, that went away and the price went crazy. So it was, but at the beginning, $35 was a reasonable value for an ounce of gold. And that was $4,000 worth of goods compared to what we can get now. And if you don't think that's true, here's something you can do. You can go watch old videos of driving up and down the street in the 1930s. And you'll occasionally see used car lots with prices on the windshield. It's not impossible. Go spend 20 or 30 minutes watching videos, and you'll see a 1930s used car lot with prices written on the windshields. And the prices are $29 and $35 and $39. That's an ounce of gold back then. And an ounce of gold today is $4,000, which will go get you a used car at some shitty car lot. So the price of an ounce of gold really does not change. Now you say, oh, the cars are much better today. They have air conditioning and blah, blah, blah. But my point stands that you can get, all things being equal, a used car in our society for an ounce of gold. And you could get a used car back in the 1930s for an ounce of gold when the price of gold was $35 an ounce. So the value of gold doesn't go up or down, but the value of the dollar is visibly dropping, and you can tell by turning a gold chart upside down and renaming it a dollar chart. That's what the dollar is doing right now. It's falling off the charts. It is garbage. Now, why is this? Why is the dollar so garbage? First of all, they printed the shit out of it. But we've got another force working, and that is that we don't produce anything anymore. The cost of Chinese goods has gone up, and this is, forget tariffs. I'm talking about even before tariffs was there. The cost of Chinese goods has gone up relative to our budgets because there are fewer and fewer things from America they want or need. Now, it's still not, they still get it paid about a quarter what we do or something like that. But it's coming up, It used to be 10% what we make. And there are still, you can still get cheap tools and stuff. You can still get cheap things from China, but the prices have gone up. Prices are going up, and it's noticeable. And I'm not talking in the last 2 years. I'm thinking back in like 2012, I was walking through Walmart, and I saw a plastic cup with, a Disney figurine or something on it for $7.99 or $7.94, like Walmart does, something like that. And I picked it up and I thought, now is this what is this? Is it possible? I looked at it and I asked my wife. I said, what is going on here? And she says, yeah, what do you mean? I said, that's a crazy price for that. She says, yeah, well, whatever. It's you allow $1 for the emblem on there, for licensing or whatever, and then the cup's 25 cents or 50 cents. That's a $2 cup. Add a 100% profit margin. You're at $3, $3.50, $4, $8. Are you kidding me? Yeah, because it costs that much in China to make that thing compared to us and our wages and the wealth that we make. They, are going up in the world. Now, this is all, I have to put a caveat that COVID was an internal civil war of some kind in China, and they're tripping and they're going down hard now. But my point stands that Americans make very few things, and the value of our dollar's dropping, and you can tell when you go into the store and buy a plastic cup from China for $8 that the value of the dollar is not very high, and it's dropping. We are poorer in America because we produce less, and the prices in the stores show it. So, I hope you bought some gold to protect your wealth, and I hope you didn't think it was an investment. And next time, we'll discuss what you should have bought, which is Bitcoin. And if you would have bought that when you bought your gold, and then sold at the peak, and then rebought and resold on 2 very predictable cycles, you would have been at like to $47,000 from your $1,000 initial investment or something. But we'll talk about that next time. Over and out, ladies and gentlemen.